Hello, welcome to Free Flow Friday. We are almost done with the Free Flow Fridays, at least in this format, as we're going through the symptoms of the book. That means we've been doing this for many weeks. We are currently at tinnitus, which is ringing of the ear. And I know people can experience this at any age. Sometimes it can happen more often when you're older, but I also know younger people, if they go to concerts, really loud music,
right?
You can get ringing of the ear. So I think this will be helpful.
Different projects at different ages.
Yes.
Often I hear people who are older than 65 that have ringing of the ears, and it's interesting because that's when we go back into the umbilicus time. So at that time, it's the umbilicus flow that really rules our system. So if the umbilicus flow is not up to speed at that time, then you can get ringing of the ears. And so often we hear that. Umbilicus time is also age 0 to 3. So we don't know if babies have ringing of the ears, but if something happens at 0 to 3 and it's not resolved, it may come back in life when we're older. And, we all have trauma happening when we're babies and we don't even know about it.
Yeah.
So we look at it in that way.
Yeah, it's always interesting, like all the angles you can explore. It's like what we were talking about the other day, as we've been working on textbook 2.
Oh, to be coming out soon.
Yes.
The depth. We're really jumping into the depth, right?
Yeah. We were deep in the core, last year, and we finally brought it together, and now we're working on depth. So core, depth coming soon.
So it is one of my favorite flows, the umbilicus flow, and we can start just now by holding our ring finger, because the umbilicus flow begins in the ring finger. It's a finger flow, and all the finger flow also help our reproductive needs. So Jinshin really is for all ages. If you're watching and you're in your 20s, then you can think about your reproductive needs. And if you're older, thinking about the ringing of the ears, the umbilicus flow is really helpful for so many different levels. And it really connects us to this nurturing energy. It is personally one of my favorite flows. Practice it almost every day. And when I listen to my own pulses and they're really loud, and I give myself the umbilicus flow, it calms down everything. So this is also something that you can explore, is listening to your own pulses, and you can just do it like this, and then do it like this, and even just feeling which side is louder. Is it your right side or is it your left side?
And when you say loud,
it's like really jumping out. It's talking to you. So
like, I feel like mine feel loud. Would you mind?
On which side?
Or is that not?
A little bit. Let me feel the other side. So, now we're talking about pulse listening, but they're very even on you.
Okay.
I feel, and they're not really too loud. Mine are a little bit more on the right side because we're talking and we're having the Free Flow Friday live. So my right side, the doing side, the right side represents the here and now.
Yeah. And
so that's everything shows up in the pulses. So the side that you would want to treat is the side that's talking to you. So be it too quiet or be it too loud. And often I hear that too when people feel it. When the pulses are too quiet, you want to bring the energy up. You don't just want the other side to just keep overpowering it. So it's always the balance between the right and the left side. So I hope that you have been holding your ring finger to help the umbilicus flow, the umbilicus energy pathway, and the diaphragm flow, the chest flow moves through the inside of the arm to the middle finger and the ring finger, where at the tip it becomes the umbilicus flow. And so for that reason, holding the ring finger helps tinnitus. Makes sense? Yeah. So Lola and I were looking at the core a little bit, and so this is also how we use these organ flow patterns when you have a project in the ear, we can see which flow moves through the ear. And you can really read it very specifically and then practice that side to be most effective. But also know that when you practice one side, it will automatically help the other side. So here we go. So can you just read this,
I'll
this
read
little
if
part,
you
and then I will.
Start at B.
So umbilicus flow, page 116 of the core.
B.
Yeah.
B flows from the front shoulder through the neck muscles and past T1 to the opposite side.
Okay. So 1 second. So it's interesting that all the finger flows, they move through T1, and so that's why it's very important to have T1 open. So again, from the front shoulder, it moves through the neck and then moves through T1, thoracic vertebrae 1, which is located right here. Mm-hmm. And often people have a little hump there. So again, if you have ringing of the ears, notice that and open up this T1 area.
Have a little hump?
Yeah, it's like a fullness, on the T1. Yeah, so that's how we get into treating. It's to really start to know and get and help yourself. No, and so if your T1 is full and you have ringing of the ears, then that's something to look at. Okay, continue.
We're all detectives.
So we're at T1.
To the opposite side, about 2 inches from the ear, where it separates into 2 branches.
Yeah. So in fact, the left flow helps the right ear. Okay, the left flow helps the right ear, and so you can just look at it. Here we're showing the left side demonstrated. So if you have left tinnitus, you want to do a right flow. So I hope that makes sense. Just follow along with the pathways. Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so these 2 branches are C and D. So first branch, C. From the back of the ear, it flows diagonally through the head. Comes out to the eyebrows. And at the center of the forehead, it crosses to the side of the eyes near the ear and into the occipital bone.
Okay, and then the other part?
And then this other branch, that was D, from the back of the ear, flows into the ear.
Okay, so yeah, that's where you can stop. So you see how the right flow really helps the left ear. Okay? Because it goes in there, one branch goes in there, the other one goes deeper in there and then crosses through the ear.
Yeah.
So helping the ringing of the ear. Or any other ear projects really.
That's a good point.
For that matter. And that's where you need to figure out what you need, because sometimes the kidney flow also helps, for example, ear infections. So what do you need more at that particular time? Always put the project into a depth for you personally. Everybody is different, and that's also what makes the art of Jinshin so beautiful, that it really tailors to the individual.
So this is step 6.
Yes, this is step 6, so you can read through the notes a little bit.
Yeah, so we know the time that this is the time of the umbilicus flow, as each organ flow has a 2-hour window. This is from 10 p.m. to midnight. So
it peaks at that time. So you may say, so should I do it at 10 p.m.? And should you? And the answer is no. It's very good because it's already peaking at that time. So it's very good to do it before it hits that 10 p.m. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And so when it says organ pair, does that mean at 10 p.m. it would be good to do the diaphragm?
Oh, that's a very good question. Yes, you can definitely think that way. So the diaphragm becomes the umbilicus flow.
Yeah.
And so if the umbilicus flow doesn't have enough energy, you may want to consider. Very good, Lola. That's how we start. Yeah.
Because it is interesting. Because I feel like that does come up often. People automatically see the time like, oh, so I should probably do the umbilicus flow at 10 p.m.
Yeah, and so maybe you can do it at the lowest part, which would be then at 10 a.m. It's a good time maybe to do it. Or just before it becomes the 10 p.m. you can practice it.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
the flow direction it's descending. The flow direction is descending, but it helps the ascending. So the umbilicus flow is very interesting. The umbilicus is located here. Yeah. The actual flow pattern descends the body. It descends the body because our hands up is the anatomical position, and it descends from the ring finger like this. Yes. So that's descending, but it helps the ascending. It's located right here, and so it helps the energy to go up. Yeah.
So multifaceted.
It nurtures all the depths, and the finger facilitator is the palm. So holding the palm on a depth level is helping harmonize the umbilicus and diaphragm energy both. So on an organ function level, and somebody was asking me a question, so I'm going to cover it right here. What does it mean, like on an organ function level, on an SEL level, on the main center source level, and on a depth special level? Yes. Mm-hmm. So on an organ level, we just saw that it helps the ring finger because the actual organ flow pattern moves into the ring finger. On a
like this. The umbilicus. Yeah, as you were saying in the beginning.
Yes, so we're having all these different levels of density. So on an organ function level, helping the ring finger. On an SEL level, we can go to SEL 12. So
because it moves through.
We know that, not necessarily, but it's the highest level, the least density, the SEL level. And then so these are all these different levels of density. On the main center source level, when you're thinking of our connection to the big source, we can hold our 13s. So with that in mind, you can help the umbilicus flow on all these different levels, on an organ function level, on the main center source level, on a depth special level. So I hope this starts to make sense. These are different levels of density. When we look at a depth, we can hold the 13s. Yes.
What would be an example of like why maybe I would want to help the umbilicus flow at a SEL level versus the main center source level? Is that like the intensity of the project?
Yes, but it's also what you need and understanding those different levels, because we know that, for example, on an organ function level, the organ flows help to repair and nurture. But the pathways are already manifest in the body. We can see them. Okay. So if it's not resolving it, if you just go to the organ flow, you may want to look at a higher level, at a less dense level. So maybe look at the safety energy location level, or maybe look at the main center source level. And this is again where we are investigating where for you you need to work. And personally, I work a lot with the sequences. They are on a higher level than the organ flow level. So higher level meaning less dense.
So
less dense.
How does it go levels of density? Is SEL the least dense?
Well, yes, if we look at our book, the core, then the sequences are less dense. And it's interesting that you don't see a pathway illustrated. Oh, yeah. You just see the safety energy locations. Yeah. So this sequence of safety energy locations opens up the safety energy location in question. So if you look at the SEL 14 sequence, we never even touched the 14.
Right, yeah.
But following this sequence of steps opens up this area. When we look at when you have a pain here, physically, then you can look at the pathway which move through that area to help harmonize it. So okay. Yeah, this is like a whole study group.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we could clearly continue and continue.
We can continue and continue.
This is just like a perfect example of like why we created the study circles, because these kinds of questions, I mean, we even have been asked it. We got one this morning that are really these like clarifying, I mean, you can even see me and like we talk about this all the time. We're working on textbook 2, and it's nice to be able to talk it out and like hear other people, and especially from Alexis. So we would love, like, if you're listening and you're like, wait, yeah, I'm trying to get that too, or I have more questions, like come join our study circle and you can ask them.
And also remember that the art of Jinshin comes from Eastern philosophy. It's an Eastern philosophy, and so it's circular. One thing is related to the next. So the answers are not always as clear cut as what you may be looking for. First of all, it's an art, and second of all, it's not linear.
Yeah.
So we keep. That's why also
East versus West, right?
East versus
West. In the West, we're like, I want that, and you want to go right to it, and like I have pain here, and this will treat right there. And
here Deborah says, thank you so much for sharing all of this, so helpful even with all my years of Jinshin. And that is true. For me too, it became a lifetime study. And for you, you're starting to really learn a lot.
Yeah. Oh my God.
About it.
Yeah.
So remember, we can always keep it as simple as we want, going back to the fingers, or we can really understand it on deeper and deeper levels. And, that takes a little bit of time. And you just have fun with it. Keep having fun with this. That's very important.
I like, Deborah also added, she refers to density in terms of frequency, such as how animals can hear at a higher level of sound than we can.
Yes, thank you. I was looking for the word frequency, so thank you for that. And the SEL sequences are at a higher frequency.
And the depths are the lowest frequency?
No, not necessarily. Mary created the concept of depths to put all these aspects in. So in a way, they're at a very high level because they can very high frequency because they contain all these different aspects of it. And in another way, they are more dense because they're also related to the organ flows and even deeper and more manifest in the physical body.
Yeah. Whoa.
The depth specialists that we were working on for depth 2, remember? Those are very physical. These are very physical on our body.
So fascinating.
And also, I would like people to think of the relationship to a depth. Mary created this as a form of organizing all this information. But in fact, there is a relationship. We cannot say that the long flow is depth 2. There is a relationship, the qualities, and see if you can stay away from really setting everything in stone and just keeping everything open and fluid. Keeping it an art. So.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
So shall we practice that? So after all of this, I really hope that you will practice along with us. So if you want to treat your left ear, practice the right flow.
Yes. If there's any takeaway from today, you can remember that.
So we're going to go like this.
And we have a question. Can I get to the number flows just through the pulses?
Yeah, well, you can feel in the pulses which flow, which sequence or adjustment you need. So the pulses is a whole different study and another beautiful part of this art. But yes, give you an example, 13, 14, 15. 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
10, 9, and 2. So you can definitely hear the sequences in the pulses. So. By the way, we do have a pulse class if you're interested. We have it on our
2-part series on our platform.
on our platform.
Yeah, I'll put a link for that because we have talked quite a bit about pulses today and for our study circle.
Yeah. So again, and this is a very nurturing flow. So check which neck feels tighter to you, and then just stay with that one. So. My daughter is doing this flow, Mara, and I thought that was very appropriate for the umbilicus flow because, of course, there's a very nurturing component as we are connected through the umbilicus cord to your mom. So there, umbilicus flow, very nurturing. So you can go like this, or you can go over the shoulder like this, and then place your other hand on the 12. So that's the first hold. Yeah, like this, or you can come around like this, whatever feels more comfortable for you. Hold for arthritis. this flow is also very helpful for arthritic conditions. So it's interesting how people always seem to ask exactly when it's the flow that we're practicing that day. So yes, very helpful for arthritic conditions. So I'm demonstrating right now the flow that's in The Art of Jinshin in the self-help book. But if you have the core, you can practice the long version of the umbilicus flow. I love this one. This is the one that I practice almost every day. So recommended. So Lola's holding it from the back, and right now I'm holding it from the front. When I'm lying down, I like to hold it from the back also, because then I just lay down on my hand. And I always, with my fingertips, I go right up into the tight muscle and then just wait till it resolves. We don't have to rub or massage. You just gently hold it and feel the pulsation come up to the fingertips. So I hope that you're all practicing along with me. We are really doing these Free Flow Fridays and lives for you to practice along. When I was in Holland, I had one of my cousins said, "Oh, yeah, I always see where you are from Free Flow Friday," and then I sign off, and I'm like, "No, this is all about the practice of it."
Yeah.
So please practice along, and take this opportunity to also practice together, since we have people joining from all over the world. It is a time to connect because energy travels.
Absolutely.
Right? Energy travels, and so we are connecting. People have started to give sessions remotely, and yes, energy practice. So yes, you can go in deep, or you can hold very lightly, or you can even work above if it's hard for you to touch.
Absolutely.
So we're taking the hand from the 12, and we're going to move it to the opposite 20.
So we're mirroring each other, yeah.
Wait, no, you go to the opposite 20 here, so you're on the same side 20 as the 12.
The same one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And 20 helps to clear our mind. It helps with focus. Yeah, so this is a very nice hold. Make sure you're breathing. And you may feel the pulsation now in both of your hands, in the fingertips, and that means that the energy is spiraling to core, to the center of the body, and spiraling back out. So as we're practicing the art of Jinshin, the energy moves from the skin surface to the core in a spiral. That's what we feel by the pulsation. When we feel the pulsation come up in the fingertips, that's the energy spiraling. And at the same time, the energy begins to move down the front and up the back, helping our exhale and our inhale. And that is really why we don't have to force Felice start breathing. It will happen automatically. Sometimes it's good to remind ourselves, but also know that just by practicing Jinshin, that it starts to spiral and move. It starts to spiral and move by itself. Effortless reality, as Mary Burmeister would say, and this is what she means. And then moving our hand from the eyebrow to the same side of the neck. So you're holding 11 and 12, yes.
Oh.
Yes, very good. So this flow is also called the halo flow, and you just stay there, because you start here and you go over the top of the head. So it's like the halo flow. So spiritually, nice. It's a beautiful flow as well. And that is the umbilicus flow. So again, in the core, you have the full flow, the long version. And in the art of Jinshin, you have the short version, the self-help version. Do you want to check if there are any more questions, Lola?
Yeah, you mentioned Jinshin remotely.
Thank
This
you all
is so
for
helpful.
joining. Yes, from
Yeah.
everywhere. That is just really
Thank
wonderful
you.
to have this practice together. And soon we will have the study group again, which we opened up to others if you haven't bought the curriculum. The curriculum is really something for a self-study, and if you want to deepen your understanding, we really built it for that reason and created it. So if you want to practice on others or on yourself,
Yeah.
but there's so much study to do, and in the study circle we really explore and share. You can ask questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And even
join us. It'd be
share
live.
what you've learned and confirm that, you know, you really understand it correctly. And yeah, it's fun. That'll be October 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern. So
I just would like to share one more mudra with you. If you hold this one, you're also helping the palm of the hand, the ring finger, and you're holding the little finger. So again, that will also help that sixth depth energy. So keep exploring, keep learning, and thank you all so much.
yeah, thank
for joining.
you. We'll see you all back here next week. Bye.